Right, so now this is what we're going to do next. Study a particular day. Now, I want to know what happened. So I'm going to take the data from 0 a.m. to midnight. I'm getting all the data. I've speed up all the process because it was getting too long. So the screen might be moving a little fast. You can always pause it on the video to see what I'm doing. So I'm just selecting all the data, copy and paste it on Excel. So oh, I think I have to do it again. Okay, so now I need to put it nicely. I'm just getting the time now because I've got a French Excel and English data from the software. I need to do some changes on the date. Here I'm just getting the number of hours out of the timestamp. So basically 10 minutes is 0.16 hours. So and now what I'm doing is I'm calculating the number of ampere hours between a 10 minutes timestamp. So I'm getting basically the average of amperes in the beginning of 10 minutes at the end of 10 minutes. And now I'm adding all it together and accumulating it. So what we can see here, so we reached a 190 amp hours. Now it's getting a little fast, but you can see it on the right, 190. That's it. So this is accumulated amp hours. So I need to remove that. And what we are seeing here is basically what happened with the amperes. So here's the time on X and number of amp on Y, and it's going to be displayed nicely. Okay, here we go. So I remove the markers. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to make a nice graphic, and we're gonna spend some time understanding what's going on. All right, then that's what's gonna happen next. Okay, so here it is, the new graphic. So let me explain what I've done. On the bottom here, you can see the time frame during the day, and on the left, you get the amperage on the blue curve, and on the right, on the red curve, you have the voltage recorded by the EPSOLAR. Now I have added a new curve, the green one, which is like what could have happened if we got maximum power out of the panels. And it's a really basic, just if you want to have a look at it, it's a really basic parabolic curve, ax2 plus bx plus z, and there is just a little check on the negative side, so it's removing all the negative values. So you have a 0 and then the curve and then 0 again. So now let's go and have a look. Now here you can see here the nighttime, and what happened early morning. Now early morning the batteries are empty, more or less, and they've been working all night, and the voltage is pretty low. Now from around 6 a.m. till about like around 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. We got the boost phase. So what the boost phase is as long as it doesn't reach 14.4 volts. Now 14.4 volt is the gauging voltage. Is that when you go over that voltage, the batteries make some bubbles. It's not that bad, but you're losing some water, so it's not okay if you are using maintenance-free batteries. Now if you are using normal batteries like floated batteries, you're gonna have to put some water. No, so most of the charger, I mean the charger normally don't go over 14.4, and until you reach that voltage, basically you can put as many amps as you want in the batteries, and it's called the boost phase. Now you can see here on the blue curve, boost phase is reaching about 30 amps, and at the time when the voltage of the battery, which is the red curve, is reaching about 14.4, then the charger has to reduce the current in order to keep the voltage down and to stop it going up. If the charger were going to keep going full power, current will go high. It will follow the green curve, but the voltage will go high also, and it will not be good for the battery. We will go over voltage. Now, so what happens? So the battery charger, the EPSOLAR, is regulating at 14.4. In order to do so, he has to reduce the amount of amperage, the amount of current is pushing in the battery. Now, those spikes here are the fridge, and when the fridge is consuming a lot of electricity, the voltage going down, so the charger is allowed to go up again as many amps as it can, and that's why you have those spikes. Each time there is a drop in current, then the battery, the charger can increase the amount of current. But more or less, what you can see is now we are regulating at 14.4, and the current has to be contained in order to keep the voltage in this area. Now this phase of charging is called the absorption phase. Now normally we go on and on and on, and that's why it takes so long to charge a battery, because if you want to maintain that voltage, you have to reduce the amount of current, and the less current you put, the more time it takes to charge a battery. If you are looking only the voltage, you can see that we are at 12.6 when the batteries are at ease. Here there is like something around 2 to 3 a.m. The fridge is starting to run, battery go low, coming back at a bit lower voltage, blah blah blah, and then at 6 a.m. that's it. It starts to charge again, and the battery is picking up voltage under the charger current delivery, and it reached 14.4 more or less, and start regulating. At some point there is no more light, and it's the end of the day, around like between 3 and 4 p.m. current is decreasing also, and voltage is decreasing also. Now if we look at the current only, so what can we make of it? On the left you have the scale, and you see the same phase as earlier on. Now here is the real current, boosting phase and absorption phase, and here is the potential current we could get. Now this area here we have calculated is about 190 ampere hours, and the whole area, the green area, is about 300 ampere hours. So what we got here is this. We got 2/3 of potential production is going inside a battery, and 1/3 of the production, this area here, is not used because we are regulating, is unused, and we can discuss how we can use this. Now, next thing we're gonna do is consumption estimate and see what kind of battery we need for this kind of profile. Like if you need 200 ampere hours on your boat per day, what do we need to install? And that's what's going to happen next. Hi, so now let's see a more theoretical approach on the power need. I've guesstimated more or less what should be the consumption in the first configuration, which is 24-hour sailing. You're going to an island somewhere, it's pretty far, it's gonna take 2 days, 2-3 days. So you are sailing on 24-hour basis. Now the second option is you are at berth and you're just sitting there and enjoying your time near the beautiful island. So much less trouble, of course, and also much less consumption. Coming option: the radar, the toilets, and desalinization system. This is, for example, my super fridge, 20 amps, and fortunately it's only consuming a few, I estimate to 8 minutes per hour, and it's running on a 24/7 basis, and this is about right, 60 ampere on 24 hours. Now if you put food in the fridge, now this can increase a lot. Like if you have full grocery, food fridge is empty, grocery stayed in the car and now reach 15-20 degrees by the time you reach the fridge now, and you pull all this, and this will easily double because you have to cool off all that food. Now this is 60 amp, is like 60 ampere hours, is like there is cool food in the fridge and you're not touching it. This is just like maintaining the food, and you open it a few times per day. Now this is a particular fridge. I made another model for most fridge, about 5-6 amp, running 20 minutes per hour. You will go to 40 ampere hours. Okay, now the pilot is the other big one, 10 amps when the electric motor is running, and I estimated it's running a few seconds every other second, so 15%, so we're talking 36 ampere hours. Now if you are in a storm, or if you are in difficult sea, a lot of waves, a lot of wind, that can increase also. Now instrument is virtually nothing, and the other big thing is the computer, the navigation computer. It's a computer, it's a PC. I'm using OpenCPN on it, and most of the time the screensaver will start and it will go down to 2 amps. So I put like 2.5, normally 3 amps. Now I'm thinking seriously about getting an SSD drive to decrease the power consumption, and that should save another amp. Now IS receiver, transceiver, it's about 300 milliamps. GPS and VHF going together for the DSC is also about few hundreds milliamps. Nav light 300 milliamps. They are all LED. Other lights and other electronics, like I got an Arduino running and a little Raspberry running, doing my N2K conversion. Now we are totalizing about 200 ampere hour per day. So that's more or less what we saw on the other graphics. If you are at berth, it's much less than sailing. And these are options I'm thinking about getting, and desalinization from one of my friend is doing 30 amps when it's running as desal, and 30 amps, and it's doing 60 liters per hour. Now I'm thinking about 8 people per day, 20 liters per day per person, and I'm thinking 3 hours per day should be okay. Now 3 hours per day is going to be 90 ampere hours. So 90 ampere hours, it's very interesting. Very interesting because if we go back to our curve, this is about what we got here of unused power. Like we got 300 ampere hours here, and we have put in the battery 200 ampere hours. Now this 100 ampere hours is unused. We have all this current which is regulated, and we cannot use it because the battery won't take it. So now this current is available to us. Now if we make a little device, I'm thinking something that monitor the battery voltage, let's say between 14 and 14.2, 14.3. It could eventually tell the D-cell, okay, now you can run. You can pull some energy because we are in the absorption phase and we have extra amp. Now a small microcontroller could also control the motor of the D-cell, so it will not make it run full power. It can make it run slowly and making let's say less water and consume less power. Let's say if we are here, for example, this fridge bike, for instance. Now if we zoom in, here we can see there's a current increase, and the current increase is pretty high. It's going from 20 to 35, so it's 15 amps. Now this current increase is not changing the voltage, so in that current we have, in this area here, we're gonna take this area, we have 20 amps going for the battery and 15 amps going for the fridge. Now on the same basis, we could imagine controlling the D-cell, pouring some current in the D-cell, and the battery will keep charging because we will put only the current which is available to us, which is basically the current which is above that blue line, above the absorption current. This is what I'm thinking. Now thank you very much for watching the show. I'm going to do a little discussion on battery next, and if you are satisfied with the battery, just you can just stop right now. The show is over. Thank you very much for watching, and I really appreciate it. Bye. Now basically we're gonna need at the moment to get to 200 ampere hours. I've again I've put 3 scenarios. The one 24-hour sunny day, which is like absolutely gorgeous, and you need to do 200 ampere hours. During that day, if we look at that curve again, we have about 8 hours of power. Now if we trunk a little bit, 1 hour here, 1 hour there, we can imagine that we have 8 hours instead of 10. We can make it safe. 8 hours during which the battery are not giving electricity. You are getting it directly from the solar panel. So this electricity doesn't count for the battery. It counts from the solar panel. It doesn't count for the battery. So basically you need to keep up with power for 16 hours. 16 hours under a battery at 200 hours per 24. So there we go. We need a battery system that can deliver 133 ampere hours. Now if we have a really bad day, we might have only 2 hours worth of sun and 22 hours worth of using the battery. Now we're gonna be 183. We're gonna need 183 ampere hours. Now imagine we got a bad scenario. We got 2 days without sun, and we need 400 ampere hours, and we only have 2 hours and 20 hours of batteries, so we need 366. Now, for those different scenarios, what you can see is I've proposed different battery type. Car truck battery, like very basic, the one you can get everywhere, very cheap. But they only accept 25% discharge. They are starting battery. They have high current. They are made to be charged all the time, like in a car. You start the car and then alternator is on and it's taking care of it. So the battery is made to be always under charge. So these batteries are not good for boats unless for starting the engine. But most people use them because they're cheap. Now, I took an example of Optima Bluetop, and the acceptable discharge level is 40%, which is already pretty good. And this is a gel battery, which accepts 50%, and this is traction battery. Now, traction battery are the one you find in forklifts, electric forklifts. You find them also in the golf car. They are charged at night and they are used to be discharged the whole day long. They're really deep discharge batteries. So this is what we need, and we need to have a battery strong enough to provide this only on 20%. On the battery, if you have a car or a truck kind of battery, like a starter battery, then you will need a starter battery of 533 ampere hours to provide this 133 amps without damaging the battery. Now, if you get an Optima Bluetop battery, you will need a model which is 333 ampere hours to get to that thing, and to get to this 133 ampere hours without going under the 40% discharge level. Now the gel battery is same thing except 50%, so you can have a model which is a bit less powerful. And the traction battery is 80%, so you only need, now when you need 533 ampere hours using a starter battery, you need 167 ampere hours for from a traction battery. And that's interesting. Now if you look at the next table, it's the same thing except I have added an extra 25% for safety. Now so it's just basically the same thing multiplied by 1.25. Now I didn't do it for the traction battery, but because the traction battery is given at a standard which you see on 5 hours. So basically when they tell you it is that much ampere hours, it's under a 5-hour discharge, when all those batteries are given under a 20 hours discharge. And the faster you discharge, the less it lasts. So basically if you want to compare those numbers, basically traction battery has already taken into account that 25%. So this is not moving. That's why this one is going from 127 to 167, because it's taking into account the change into the standard for measuring capacity. Now, what is the cost of those battery? Well, more or less, the starter battery is like $1 per ampere hours. Like a 100 ampere hours battery will cost you $100. And Optima Bluetop is about $5 per ampere hours. And gel battery are about $3 per ampere hours. And traction battery is about also $3 per ampere hours. Now, if you look at the cost, it's basically this multiplied by this. That's it. However, lifespan from those batteries are quite different. Uh, these starter batteries are good for 200 cycle. The optimal Bluetooth is about 1000 cycle, gel battery 1000, and the traction battery is about 1500 cycle. So the total cost of ownership is quite the opposite of the price of the battery. Now you can see that the most expensive is the cheaper battery, and then the the optimal Bluetooth, and then the gel battery, and finally the less expensive is the traction battery. I have chosen that setup here. I got a pretty good deal on traction batteries, and I just wanted to share it with you, what it looks like in a boat. So I got 12 times 240 ampere hours, which make two sets of 12 volt 240 hours, which make 480 ampere hours. Now if you want to know what it looks like, it's a bit unusual as battery, and it has some pros and cons. These are the battery I had before and this place. Now I'm lucky enough I have enough space. Oh, hey, that's the fridge. And lucky enough I have enough space in the boat to fit those battery. Now pros and cons are interesting. Now you can monitor each. So you see those are 2 volt batteries put in series. I get 2 on this and 4 on this side. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. You have 12 here, 12 here in parallel, and that makes 12 volt to 480 amp hours. Now because there are assembly of 2 volts batteries and 2 volt single cell, you can do a cell by cell voltage monitoring. So for instance, if you have a discharge or a charge at any particular moment, and you see differences between most of the battery and one cell, then you can figure out that one cell needs maintenance. It can be just some equalization or needs replacement, but at least you can monitor what's going on, what you cannot do in a normal 12 volt battery. Now you can do it for voltage, you can do it for temperature. As you might see here, you see all these little pipes going from cell to cell. Now these are little plugs. Those plugs have a level indicator, the little white stuff. Now when the white stuff is low, that means there is no water. And these pipes are the watering system. So I can put the water automatically in each and every cell, and this little plug will just stop the water pouring in when the battery is full. Now what else? Deep cycles, so you have low total cost of ownership, a lot of cycles at 80% discharge, and even more cycles at 50% discharge. And also imagine you have one dead cell. Now if you have this in normal battery, you have to change the whole battery. Now here, if you have one dead cell, then you can change dead cell. Now what the dead cell means, it means most likely a shortcut. So other than that, battery might probably need some equalization or regeneration. But if the battery is dead because it's a shortcut, then you can change it at a lower cost. And another part is that you can also charge and discharge at a high current. Now it's not starting battery, you will not get 1000 amp out of it like they advertise on every starting starter motor battery, but I personally don't need it, but I need to be able to handle 40 or 50 amps of charge when the solar panel is giving full power. Now, this kind of battery will handle this without problem. Now, there are some drawbacks also. First of it is size. These are like 35 centimeter high. Now 35 centimeter is much higher than this. These are standard. Now these are not standard. They are going from 30 centimeter to more than 1 meter if you have if you are shooting for like 1000 ampere hours. But this size here, about 32-33 centimeter, is going up to 500 or 600 ampere hours, which is already not bad. And so in your boat, if you want to fit them, you're gonna have to maybe look for some other spot if you really want a traction battery. First time purchase ticket is high. 1,500 euro for 600 ampere hours, equivalent to normal battery. It's a lot more that normal battery. Now those are marine batteries, and they go for 110, $120. Now, if I wanted 600 ampere hours out of it, I need 5 or 6 of them. Now that would be half price compared to traction battery. Now one of the reasons they are so good is because they have much more lead in it. Now lead is heavy, so if you are weight conscious on your boat because you like to go fast, I'll give you a little comparison. I had 4 of those, and they were like 28 kg each. And these, the one I put on my boat, are about 180 kg. Right, so that makes quite a difference. So anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much. I'm waiting for your comments, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.